Okay, because we're almost done. You asked a bunch of questions by Mr. Sloan just now about a host of inaccuracies on fairly significant issues in
Your Honor,
your reports.
the question is argumentative in itself. It's stated of access, not an evidence.
Okay. I agree.
Just a minute. Just a minute.
Come on, Joe.
Mark?
I don't believe that the question is argumentative. You assume facts, not an evidence as well, Your Honor. And the question you read back, read the question back.
Detective, we're almost done. You were asked a bunch of questions by Mr. Preslovic just now about a host of inaccuracies on fairly significant issues in your reports.
What's vague?
Okay. You asked questions about, let's generalize it first, inaccuracies in police reports, right?
Correct.
Okay. One of those, for example, were who had the knife, right?
Yes.
That's a significant issue, isn't it?
Yes, in the report, yes.
One was whether Mr. Efron was instructed by his attorney to go back to the scene and pick up the shell casings or not. That's a significant issue, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay. And those two issues in the reports were inaccurate, correct, according to you?
Yes.
And those could have been corrected at some point, right?
Yes, they could.
They never were they?
I mean, as far as generating a new report, other than what's been explained in court, no.
Right. So the reports today are still inaccurate on those issues.
Correct.
You were asked about one other thing.
You said the question was vague.
Let's start with this. 12. You were asked if you would agree to interview, if 12 would agree to be interviewed by you, and you said, he said, no, he wouldn't. Are you referring to, correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Are you referring to 2 weeks ago in court here?
Yes.
Is that the first time you tried to interview him?
Yes.
So, in January of 2025 is the first time you tried to interview 12B about an incident that occurred in November 6th of 2021, correct?
Correct. Me personally, yes.
How about anyone else from your police department?
Yes. No, that would
No.
be the first one. Correct.
Now, you would then ask questions about whether the firearm was operational. Remember those questions just now?
Yes, sir.
You testified already on cross-examination that the video from the garage, because you can't indicate if that's an operational firearm or not, correct?
Correct.
You testified on Tuesday that the video from 1616 Visa Del Mar, that from that video you said, that video alone there's no evidence of a shooting, correct?
That video alone, no.
Correct. But then you said the totality of the circumstances lead you to believe that the firearm was operational. Remember just now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the totality of the circumstances relative to testimony.
The physical evidence, the video, collectively, yes.
Well, the video, you just said both videos don't add to the fact that it's operational or not.
Right.
Collectively, as a whole, not the two that you decided, the entirety of all the videos involved, yes.
Well, which video shows you the firearm was operational? Which video?
Sir, as you put them together with the sound, with the sequence of events, along with the physical evidence and the statement from Mr. Efron, that is just my opinion that it is operational, and that's why I believe it.
That's not what he asked, though. He said which video shows it. Not, oh, you just Frankenstein put some videos together and then it shows that the gun is operational? How? It doesn't show any of that. Because without the guy who allegedly got shot at returning to the scene after 7 police officers searched it and finding 2 shell casings, allegedly, you wouldn't know if the gun was operational or not, other than the testimony of one guy.
Take out Mr. Efron for 1 second, because he's the one who recovered shell casings, right?
Yes.
And he's the one who gives you the narrative on that video that you can't tell what happened, the 1616.
Correct. I mean,
Yeah.
he provides narrative of the sequence of events, the initial encounter of the gun that was displayed to him, what he believed to be a gun.
All right.
Whether it's operational or not at that point, I can't tell you. But the sequence of events as they evolved to Selma and Vista Del Mar, the cameras there, the incident that took place as far as what I can describe as a scramble during some, obviously, the events that occurred there that Mr. Efron described as being shot at was consistent
What?
in conjunction with the audio from the cameras. Again, this is just what I'm looking at when I'm trying to rationalize and give my opinion as to why I believe it is the gun that was fired.
I'm sorry, you're done?
Yes, sir.
Take Mr. Mr. Efron out of the equation for a second.
Okay.
Take him out of the equation. You don't have Mr. Efron. And therefore, his shell cases that he remembered, which we talked about the issues with that on Tuesday. Without Mr. Efron and his narrative or version of events, with those two videos that you said independently, you cannot tell if it's an operable firearm. And in the second video, you said you can't see it. There is a firearm.
It's the improper hypothetical which relies on evidence.
The answer would be
But yeah, give his opinion.
You want to use his opinion to respond?
No,
Okay. Okay.
taking something out of the equation then makes the hypothetical irrelevant. So ask another question.
Is your conclusion based on the fact that Relly's narrative is truthful?
It is consistent up to the point of what he describes occurred, based on what I've been able to see in connection with the physical evidence that has been provided.
So let me break it down this way. Video 1 alone, you don't know if the gun is operable.
Correct.
Video 2, that's 16 pieces of Del Mar, so what? You don't even know if there's a gun based on the video.
Specifically, just looking at that, not looking at anything else, no.
Okay. You then hear sounds that appear to be a gunshot, right?
Correct.
Aside from a gun, what else do make those sounds? An operable gun, I should say.
The sound that I heard off that camera,
Sounds like someone's banging on metal.
I mean, a firearm, some kind of replica firearm potentially, but distinct sound of the firearm. Again, my belief it was a firearm.
Right. Thank you.
But he doesn't know.
Would you agree that you don't need Mr. Efron's truthful testimony in order to determine that a shooting occurred at that location?
Check out.
What?
Question was
It's
asked.
a different question. He's asking a different question.
Easy. Can I get a question in your eye? Please.
Would you agree you don't need Mr. Efron's truthful testimony in order to determine that a shooting occurred at that location?
So taking him out of the equation. That's number one. Number two, it's leading. It's leading us to me.
Yeah, the court's ruling, we're getting more speaking projections.
Stating my words.
So it's a not move around, other than speech.
Read the question again.
Would you agree you don't need Mr. Efron's truthful testimony in order to determine that a shooting occurred at that location?
It would be a proper question if the question ended with occurred. But when you say at that location, then I believe that calls for speculation.
Would you agree that you don't need Mr. Efron's truthful testimony to establish a shooting occurred?
Yes.
I don't have any answer.
I do now.
What?
So without Mr. Efron's truthful testimony, what leads you to believe a shooting without Mr. Efron's truthful testimony? So I guess he's now out of the equation. What would lead you to believe a shooting occurred?
Again, just looking at the video, the first incident where guns displayed, he obviously falls through.
That was a crazy question.
Scramble, as you can best describe.
That's not.
Yes, sir.
He needs to answer the question. To ask the question.
You asked a question, let's finish.
Okay, so.
So again, it just comes down to, sir, is looking at everything in combination, even without Mr. Efron's statement. If I were an investigating officer just responding to investigate a shooting scene where maybe there was some evidence found and establishing what had occurred without a potential witness would be to obviously look at the same video, listen to the same sound of gunfire. Again, it's just factors that would be known at the time, but it would still lead me to believe that there had been some actual shooting short of a recording witness being present. I would still believe that.
Okay. So you first cited the fact that the gun was displayed. That was the first thing you just cited, right?
Correct.
Which you already told the jury. The gun that was displayed, the only time you could see a gun in any video was the parking garage gun.
Correct.
You already told the jury.
He's assuming a lot.
Right?
Correct, because it was not fired at that point.
Well, you also said the sound could also have been made by a non-operable firearm. You just said that before.
Again, it's in the realm of possibilities.
Okay.
From what I've heard, again, based on the sound, again, this is just my opinion, my expertise, and my experience. I believe
Here goes
it
the
to be
prop
a-
gun.
You also heard, you hear when the police officer's body cam from the scene was played, right?
Yes, sir.
And you heard the police officer say there's no evidence of a shooting here. You heard that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now you're.
All right, thank you, Detective Flores. You can step down. Next witness.
All right, there he is.
This is Mr. Ryan Weaver.
The last witness.
It is.
All right, so this is the state's last witness. What do y'all think about Detective Flores?
Given the very police are almost at noon now, we are certainly going to be before the jury who's willing to start at 1:30 instead of the.
No, sorry.
I'm just letting the board know.
It's just, I think a lot of this goes to show how so much assumptions are made by these police departments. He said, throw away, he being Joe, he said, we're throwing away Relly's testimony now, apparently. Throw that testimony away. What made you think a shooting took place? He said, well, in this one video, we saw him have a gun and he pulled it out and he put it back in his waist. And then in the next video, it looks like maybe there was possibly a gun that was fired. And then the sound that we took from this video, we matched up at that point, and it looks like maybe possibly he could have fired a gun. Come on, man. Come on. And Joe made a great point to say, so that sound could have been made by an inoperable gun, according to you. And he said, it's in the realm of possibility. Reasonable doubt.